All right, welcome back, everybody. So we have with us Elizabeth Milner, Law and Crimes in Court reporter, who's
been there every day for the action, every day of testimony, and we have so many questions coming in now for Elizabeth, really? Good to see you. Before I even go to the more substantive questions, let me give you some praise that we got here. This is from Orty von Elberg. Thank you. Please let Jesse know if he's ever in Atlanta. I would love to have a cocktail or 12 with him. Also, you all are amazing. That's very sweet. Jean Slutter says, I want my own Jesse and Elizabeth to break down everything in my life for me. Well, that is just disaster. I don't think you want that, but it's very, very kind. All right, so we got the first question from Fabila Delgado Lebron. Queen Elizabeth, did the defense look stressed during testimony? Not one bit. I personally didn't think that they seemed stressed during today's testimony, especially once Brandon Paul got on the witness stand. I was kind of thinking that the testimony overall would go one direction, especially given the lawsuit. But given that we saw him kind of testify today, it didn't even go the way I kind of thought it was going. And that's one of the biggest things about this case specifically, is you think it's going to go in one direction, then it goes into another direction. So from what I could tell, the defense didn't seem stressed. And I don't want to say that they didn't seem stressed and like they were so like calm, cool, and collective in an arrogant way. It was nothing like that, but it seems like, especially as we're kind of getting towards the end of trial here, that they don't seem as stressed as maybe people may think they are. But again, we never know what's going on through their heads in that type of sort. But from what I could tell, they seem kind of still, pretty surface level as far as just the feelings of emotions from what I could tell sitting inside the courtroom. Question from Denise Lopez. Elizabeth, how was the tension in the room when Brendan Paul testified, and did he make eye contact with Diddy? I didn't think that there was going to be a tense moment between the two, especially given kind of the demeanor it's been with other assistants testifying. And so because Diddy wasn't present when Brendan Paul got his immunity deal outside of the presence of the jury, I thought there might be kind of a big moment where maybe Brendan Paul didn't even want to look in Diddy's direction while he kind of approached the witness stand. But from what I could see of him, Diddy did kind of what he normally does when maybe a compelling witness might come up and testify, as he kind of turned around in his defense chair and he kind of watched Brendan Paul take the witness down. And I couldn't feel like necessarily a tense atmosphere, as opposed to maybe when Jane was testifying, or even as far as when Cassie was testifying. But from what I could tell, even when Brendan Paul got off the witness stand, I think he kind of looked in Diddy's direction. I don't think there was kind of like a, just like a nod to one another, a smile to one another from what I could see, but it didn't feel as tense as maybe I thought it was going to be when he entered the courtroom. So I'm going to have two questions for you that are very similar. They're about Sean Combs, because you are our eyes and ears. There are no cameras in that courtroom. There's no audio equipment in that courtroom but you. But listen to this from Joe Lucas. Elizabeth, great reporting. Feels like I'm there. I mean, what better compliment can you get than that? So Joe Lucas asks, what is Diddy's demeanor like today as it's coming up to the end of the prosecution's case? And Rode asks Elizabeth, have you seen Combs look at the jury much since he got in trouble? Remember, he did get in trouble with the judge after a really, I would say, beneficial moment of cross-examination of a key witness in this case. He was accused of nodding at the jury. So what's his demeanor like, and has he been looking at the jury? Well, I'll take the second question first. Yes, I did see him kind of looking over towards the jury's direction today during testimony, but not kind of as animated as maybe he has been in the past as far as nodding goes and all of that stuff. I really just kind of think I saw him just looking in their direction, maybe to get, maybe what their demeanor was, kind of listening to all these text messages, listening to Brendan Paul testify again too. But as far as just his demeanor overall, it's still kind of the same thing as if he's feeling any type of worry or anxiety about what the future may hold. I haven't been seeing that necessarily, and again, not in like a cocky or an arrogant type-off way, but really just kind of maybe possibly a more poker face kind of way, where if there's any type of emotional feeling that he is having, and you know it's not reading over his face, maybe it's in his mind, it's something that we're not seeing, but as far as just his demeanor overall, he kind of is still doing what he's been doing. He's taking his notes, he's listening to testimony, he's jotting his notes down to his defense attorneys, the one moment's eye or the few moments that I do see him kind of, you maybe beam up in a sense, is when he sees his family inside the courtroom. So kind of turning around, saying hello to his son, saying hello to his mom, his sister, but as far as any type of worrisome demeanor,
In-court reporter who's been there every day.
there today is his family. His family is here today. I saw his sons Justin and Christian Combs today, his sister Kesha, his mom, Janice, and then of course his friend Carucci, who's been inside that courtroom pretty much as I've been even before the trial began. He was always attending those pre-trial hearings too. So he did have his support system inside the courtroom today too. We got this question from Alana Rodriguez. I absolutely love Jesse and Elizabeth. They're both great, and Jesse, I love the hair. Thank you so much. Question, Elizabeth. So this is important because we found this out. It was actually shocking. We found it out, 15 minutes ago, Elizabeth? When will the trial be over, and when will the prosecution government be done with their case? We just found out when this is basically going to wrap up, right? Yes, we did, and it's coming closer to an end pretty much faster than I was expecting to. So because we didn't have court the full day on Wednesday, and of course, we had the day off yesterday, it kind of pushed the government's case back just a little bit, so they plan on wrapping up this final summary witness on Monday. Then the cross-examination will happen. That'll probably take a few hours, and then the government plans on resting their case as early as Monday. So that could be a big difference. I think probably the biggest thing, though, Jesse, is that the defense says that they plan that their case will be a lot shorter than expected. Now, originally, Mark Anna was saying, okay, maybe it might be 2 to 5 trial days that they were planning for the defense case, but he was saying as far as just when the defense plans on resting their case in chief, that could happen as soon as Tuesday or Wednesday. And then, of course, there has to be kind of a conference about jury instructions, all of that stuff, but the judge is saying that we could possibly have closing arguments on Thursday of next week. So that is coming up very fast, and then given jury deliberations, all of that stuff, a lot of things are moving pretty fast. Even though it was kind of a slow end to finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, it's like, bam, the light's here. We're almost wrapping this case up, and it could happen as soon as next Thursday. We were talking about this. So if they really think they're going to wrap up their defense's case, A, it doesn't look like Sean Combs is planning to testify, and B, and this is something I'll ask my panelists in a little bit, defense might feel pretty good about their case. They might feel that they don't need to call as many witnesses as they first thought, and through cross-examination or some of the problematic messages and alleged behavior of the ER witnesses. In this case, they might feel reasonable doubt has already been raised. This is a question from TIA 215. Question for Elizabeth Milner. Christina Corm's name has been up every day of this trial. Will she be coming in? It doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem like the defense plans on calling her. And with the government resting their case on Monday, doesn't seem like they're going to be calling her either. And it's interesting, because we have been hearing so much about her. We've been seeing her exhibit photos. We've been hearing her text messages from her devices that were turned over. But as far as seeing an appearance from her, either inside the courtroom or as a supporter of Diddy's, or even inside as a witness for either the defense or the government, we're not getting that. It seems like from where we're kind of going and where we're at in the case, and so it's pretty disappointing. I was hoping to hear from her, just in any type of context, whether it be as a defense witness, whether it be as a government witness. But It doesn't seem like either side plans on calling her, which is pretty disappointing. I really just was hoping, and I think a lot of people were hoping to know what she has to say just about all of this altogether. If